What up, family? Back here with another video, another near-death experience. This particular one is a man. This is actually actually a witness and a guy that's actually speaking about his account of nearly dying. And he said we have it backwards. So let's see exactly what he has to share. All right. Also, I pray you guys are doing well. Thank you for joining me. If you're here for the first time, please like the video as we go through it and consider joining the family. We'd love to have you. It's absolutely free, I promise. But hope you guys enjoy this particular reaction.
Every time I tell this story, I just start smiling um, because it all comes back.
So I heard you had a near-death experience. Let's hear about it.
Okay, it was 1994. I was working as a firefighter in Santa Barbara. I was at Station 11 on a paramedic engine. I was an engineer. I drove, and there was a powerful flu epidemic going on in the area. And lots of people were sick, and emergency rooms were full of people. And we went to a patient. She'd been cooped up in her room, and she was really ill. And it was obvious we had to move fast because everything about her was wrong. And I grabbed the O2 and scooted across the bed and got above her and got a mask on her. And as I was fixing it, tightening it up, she let out this big exhale because she so happy that we had arrived. And I was taking a breath in, and I felt my lungs fill with her breath.
Oh,
And
wow.
I said, well, if that's not an inoculation, I don't know what is. And a couple of days later, I was really sick. At this point, I was really ill, and I was at home. I was
Now, if he felt that, that was supposed to happen. Absolutely supposed to happen. So he noticed it and he felt it. That's crazy, right?
circling the drain. It was hard to get out of bed. I was throwing up, and it going the other way. It was afternoon of the third day. I think I was looking in the mirror, and I said, man, I don't even look like myself. Everything was dark. My heart was racing. It was like 150. And I tried to take my pulse at my wrist because that's a good indicator of what your blood pressure is. And I couldn't get a pulse at my wrist, so I knew it was below 80. So I called my niece, I called my sister, and my niece picked up, and I tried to talk to her, and it was just a whisper. And she knew there was trouble. She hung up, dialed 911, and Santa Barbara County Fire came and picked me up. Guys did a wonderful job. They started high flow IVs. It was obvious that I was severely dehydrated, and got me in an ambulance and got me to the hospital. And when we went in, the place was full. It was full of people, full of kids and adults, and everybody had this same really powerful flu. And I got put in a room, and they kept changing out the IVs. I had a couple of bags by then. I think another one was hung. By the next day, when I left, they said they'd given me 11 liters of fluids. They're trying to float the system because something happened, and I don't blame anybody, or I don't have any ill feelings towards anybody about it, because it led to this event, which was something that was meant to be. And anyway, the nurse came in and she said, everyone's getting these two drugs, something for pain, which was a morphine type thing, and something for nausea. She pushed him into the IV port, and I kind of was sitting up. I was getting dressed. My wife was there, and I was like, I think I can go home. And she goes, nope, the doctor hasn't even seen you yet, and these are orders for everybody. Anyway, she pushed it, and I keeled over.
Oh, wow.
And my wife said that it really scared them. They came in and they Narcaned you, and Narcan is something that gobbles up the opiates, and they Narcaned you. She had it written down 3 times. And you weren't coming back. So they put me in intensive care for the night, and had all this equipment and tubes and stuff on me. And I don't know any of this. My wife hung in there. And at some point during that night, I left my body.
Wow.
And I found myself flying through this star-filled realm. Every time I tell this story, I just start smiling because it all comes back. But yeah, I was flying through this star-filled realm, and there were all these magnificent stars, orbs, all around me, and they were so welcoming, and it was like I was being paraded through, and all I felt was everything a human ever wants to feel. just acceptance and love and joy and being held. And all those things, all those negative things that we have about ourselves, they were gone. They were absolutely gone. Things like, anger and resentment or spite or jealousy. In my opinion, those emotions do not travel with us. They stay here. They're tools for us to learn from. So anyway, I was flying through this star-filled realm, feeling absolutely ecstatic, like a cosmic orgasm. And it wasn't just an explosion. That was a full-time vibe. That is what we come from. We get glimpses of it here when we score the winning touchdown, or we get that job we wanted, or get the girl, and all these victories, as you roll them all into one, times it by 1,000,000, that is your vibration. So yeah, we come down here to push against this really dense, harsh vibrations. And it's a real...
Well, he just explained the way we should feel all the time. This flesh is weight. We've allowed this flesh to weigh us down so much spiritually, and it brings us, it brings about stress and all sorts of things. And from these near-death experiences, I've always heard that as soon as you leave the body, you feel so light. It's like all the cares, everything that you had on you are gone. So the thing is, we have to find a way to live like that while we're here in our physical, whether it's in our optimal physical shape, but definitely our optimal spiritual shape as well too. And to make sure we check our emotions, and to make sure they don't weigh us down and put us in a state of mind that continuously holds us back or hold us, at a low vibration. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense what he just said. So it just makes a lot of sense. I'm sure all of us, go through certain levels of this in our life. So it's good to know that at some point, as long as we live our life right and we're on the right side of the spiritual law, that we will be done with all this heaviness in our spirit and our physical.
Really a wonderful gift. It really is. I'm cruising along, and there was a cosmic orgasm, just continuous, and I felt like I'd been released from a hot, dark closet, and I was this huge expanded cloud, a huge expanded balloon. It seemed like I went out forever. And the thing that I kept saying while I was flying along and I was enjoying everything, and I kept saying, how in the world did I believe I was this dude? It was such a crazy trick that I was this person, and I had all these good points and bad points, and buttons. We all have them, emotional buttons that clearly send me into whatever depression, and they were gone. All that was gone. All that was gone, and that remained with the person that was Bill Letson. And I had full knowledge of Bill Letson's entire life and knew all the details, and I didn't want anything to do with it. And I like him. He's a good guy, but I didn't want anything to do with it. The thought of going back was...
That's awesome. That's crazy that he's speaking of himself in third person. I wonder what brought that on. Probably his vantage point, spiritual vantage point, when he left his body, that he could look back, and see the character that he feel like he played while he was here in the physical. That's kind of how he's putting it. Speaking of himself in the third person, which is pretty interesting. I think it's pretty interesting. I think I'm a nerd for this kind of stuff, but you definitely want to make sure that we learn as much as we can so we build the right side of the spiritual laws.
Was out of the question. My body was, I was well aware that my body was behind, and it was like a banana peel. What are you going to do with a banana peel? Throw it away. And that's what it felt like. So I was flying along, and then all of a sudden I landed. I landed in a place that was solid. It had indirect lighting, and there were gurneys around, and there was equipment that was hanging from the ceiling. It was like a facility or a clinic or something. And right in front of me there were beings. There were these 3 short little hooded guys, and they looked exactly like those beings in the movie Communion. The guys I saw, they were in front of me. They had big smiles on their face, and they had these dark hoods and squatty little bodies. And one woman wrote to me, and she said, I was taken by these many times as a kid. And she goes, I called them the Warthog Men. The Warthog Men have come and taken me. And
Time out. Okay, all right, guys. Let's just stop right now. We're gonna finish the video. But he wasn't going to the direction I thought he would be. Okay? The title again says Man Dies and Learns We Have It Completely Backwards. It says Powerful NDE, Near Death Experience. So, these are the things. Yeah, so let's just hear it out. Now, right now, we're gonna take off the spiritual godly hat and just listen. That's it. Now, if he mentions Jesus or anything else, all right, I'll chime in. But it's just listen, because I want to make sure I don't get it misconstrued, and nor do I want to present it, in a way that it should be presented. So we all witnesses right now to this and reacting to this particular video. Okay. All right, because I haven't heard this particular thing before, but I think I know where he's going with this, but I don't want to speak out of turn. So let's continue to hear his account of his near-death experience.
And she said, when I saw that movie Communion, I dropped my popcorn, and says that they looked exactly like that. And I've gotten a number of emails from people saying, thank you for doing this because I thought it was just mine. So anyway, yeah, they look kind of, I don't know, creepy is the right word, but they look different. But for me, they were sweethearts. And they were saying things like, how was it? What did you learn? What can you tell us? And I was extremely confused. All of a sudden, I was in this place with these beings from a cartoon, basically. And one of them stepped forward and he took a long look at me, and then he turned to the other two and he said, he doesn't remember us. And they all started giggling.
All right. Time out again. So the movie Communion, I haven't seen it. I'm definitely gonna look it up after this video. Definitely gonna look it up because a lot of times this crazy world, they tell us things. They present it right to us. And then a lot of times we don't believe it. We think it's just so superficial that it can't happen for real. But it's really like a portion of the truth. So for him to see that movie and then identify from his experience kind of what's going on and somebody else did it too. So I think it's some validity into it, but I'm not speaking from a godly type nature. I'm just speaking of an experience. That's it. From an experience. Because everybody, there's a lot of stories out here. From a Christian standpoint, I've heard things a certain way, but then for people who don't really present the story from a Christian standpoint, no, it's a different way. So yeah, let's continue to take a listen to what he's saying.
And I was like, well, guys, I'm having a little trouble. All of a sudden, things are very strange from my perspective, and I kind of remember you, but give me a little time. And they were giggling and bouncing around, and they were wonderful. And then there was this other guy, and he was sort of in charge. He was kind of in the background. He came forward, and he was this tall, wispy guy, and he had this incredible ecstatic smile. His eyes were open, his eyebrows were up, and he had this wonderful smile and laugh. And he was obviously in charge, but he was the best boss anybody could ever have. He wasn't, very strict at all. When he came forward towards me, my throat just tightened and my chest expanded. And I thought I was going to break down in uncontrollable crying from love. There was so much love pouring from this being that it was overwhelming. It was paralyzing.
Time out. All right. I'm not going to keep stopping it, but I do want to make a point here. Well, should I say I want to say something I'm noticing that he didn't use Jesus, he didn't use angels, he didn't use heaven. He said being, said love, which is really what Christ is. But here he's not using any any jargon from the Bible. Period. So right now, I'm gonna take the hat off and just listen to what he has to say and see exactly where he's going with it. Maybe we have a conversation once he gets to the point, so we can see exactly what's going on.
Um, and I just loved it. I loved those guys. He was cool. There was some back and forth stuff, and every time I said something, he had this chuckle. I could feel it inside of me. He had this laugh. I got the impression that, you know, looking at it from a third person, that was a relationship between a father and a child, and he loved me unconditionally. And at one point I said, I'm not going back there. No way, no how, ever. So I guess I got to move on from this place eventually. And so, you know, what's next? A review of my life? Would you guys like to get started with that? And he just loved that. He just cracked up like I was a little toddler trying to take over. And he said, sure, let's do that. How do you want to start? So I started talking, and I was telling stories about jobs that I wish they'd taken. You know, my wife and I got this offer for this job on an island off the coast, and we were going to live on this island by ourselves and take care of the wildlife. And it was really super remote. It was like an hour helicopter ride off the coast. And she wanted that. That was right up her alley. And I took a fire job. I still wanted excitement. But I wish I'd done that for her, because she's never asked for anything, but she did want that. So yeah, I talked a little bit about that and a few other things, and nobody was listening. They didn't care. It was obvious that I was brought in there for a quick show and tell, and I wasn't staying. It wasn't the end of my life, and I was the only one in the room that didn't know that. And at one point he said, okay, that's enough. He stepped forward like a father and said, time to go back. And that just floored me. I was like, what? Go back? I'm not going back there. There's no way. He says, yeah, you got to go back. You got things to do, and they're important. And the three little guys, it was like they were reassigned. They just disappeared. They went somewhere else in that facility, and it was just he and I. And he came forward, and he's like, okay, you're going back. And as he stepped forward, I felt myself slipping back. The place just started to break up. It started to dematerialize. It's like I was being beamed out of there, and I was going to another channel. I was going to another frequency, and it was a descending feeling, and I dropped away into darkness. It wasn't a good place. It wasn't someplace you wanted to be. It was lonely, and it was dismal, and you didn't want to stay there. Then I was back in my body, and I woke up, and a nurse came by, and she says, you're awake? And I'm like, yeah, I need to talk to you. And she said, I just got to go tell the doctor. We've been worried about you. We didn't know what was going to happen with you. We didn't know what was going on. And I said, okay, that's cool. You can go talk to the doctor. But first, what am I doing back here? You know, I was pissed. I said, I was home. I'd made it out of here. I was home with my best bros. How is it that I ended up back here? I had bought the farm. I was convinced of it. She said, honey, you've been in escrow, but you fell out of escrow, and now you're back with us, and you're going to have to get your head around that. And I thought that was, you know, looking back, that was really good advice, because after that experience, anybody who has an experience like that, you know, the yogis and the spiritual teachers, they'll tell you, get back in your life and chop wood and carry water and do the things that support your life and keep it going, because you're on a journey. You know, you're a soldier for the higher self, this higher version of you that came for experiences that are mapped out. You know, get back on the job and make them proud on the other side that you gave your best and you made the highest vibration choices in this life.
And what was the dark place that you spent a little time in, and what was its point? What's the purpose of it?
It's up to us to create our vibration. You know, when we live our life and our vibration is low because we've been selfish and self-centered and mean-spirited, and you know, we all know these people. We've all met them. And when we leave our bodies, when we die and leave our bodies, our vibration is going to match that low vibration of that.
Sorry, I had to stop it. This is how the enemy gets in and excludes people from the actual truth. It sounds good, but it's not the truth. So everything he kind of explained kind of parallel heaven, Jesus, angels, and the dark place is hell, of course. And the feeling of love, the feeling of being welcome, the feeling of not wanting to come back because it felt so good there. Yeah. But Jesus' name was not used at all. So I just want to make sure I say that. This is just a reaction to a video to somebody that had a near-death experience. Evidently, they're not a Christian, and they don't recognize who the actual Lord is. So I just want to make sure before the video ends that I say that again. But you can see the correlation. The enemy is very sneaky, and he has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. But this video sounds really good. It really, really does. But we got to know the truth, or we got to stand on the truth. So let's kind of finish it up. Probably get a few more minutes to see exactly where it's going. Then I'm going to wrap it up.
Those lower places, and that's where we'll be stuck. It's not forever. It's just till we sort out where we went wrong in this life, and because we are these infinite, amazing beings. If you listen to those people who, they give a video about going to hell, almost every time it's like they sort it out. One woman was in a coma for weeks, and at one point she sorted it out, and she started singing a spiritual song that she sang in church, and she popped right out of hell. and she said that most of the time she had no idea she was dead. This thing about leaving this world in an astonished state, you're going to bump around in these low vibrational places until you can sort out that astonishment. And for some, it could be a long time. Edgar Cayce, when he used to leave his body to give a reading, he would sit quietly until the vibration started right in his eyes, and he would start that REM sleep, that blinking thing that you talked about, and I feel it all the time. Then he would find himself a little speck of light outside of his body, and he knew that he had to follow the light in order to stay safe, and that the first level of the realms that he visited or he moved through, he would move over to this staircase, and it was this like Jacob's ladder, and he would start up this staircase, and he would pass these little hooded gnomes and elves and things, and they had very dark robes at the lower levels, and then they'd be light colored at the higher levels, and there'd be like 8 levels, I think, and he'd go into the Akashic records and get a reading and return. But he said that that first level was a place of nightmares. The things that were alive in that area were nightmarish. People were there, but they were greatly deformed. They'd have huge hands or giant feet, or just these body parts that were really bizarre looking. And he said as he would follow the light to this stairwell, and then he would ascend, and he'd pull out of those places. And I think this guy Michael Tamara, he talks about this thing as we go through these lives and we sort out what we really are, who we really are, and we die well. We die realizing that we live forever and we can't be harmed, and I just got to stay the course and follow the light. We're living in an illusion. This is a really good play, and we all got parts in it, but when we go home, you don't want to come back here. This thing we call death, we've got it completely backwards. It is a beautiful thing. It is a 10 million% upgrade instantly. We have not lost anybody. They've slipped out of the physical and they've gone home, and they're just a little further up the trail than we are right now. But we'll see them again, and everything is fine. Everything is beyond fine for them.
So sorry, I'm listening, but do we just ignore the fact that we were created by the Lord Himself, and we go back home to kind of what He described as aliens, already alien. This world is a mask. When you hear stories like this, some people really truly live their life by this. And if you saw my last video about um, being married, remarried, and the account was a person saw people in hell, this type of thinking from this video, if you're not a believer, will get you sent to hell quick because you didn't acknowledge Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. I may get some flack from this, but hey, it is what it is. That's what I believe. And if you're a believer, please chime in. Please let me know your thoughts about this video, or do you know people or that's like this that don't really believe, in Jesus and just think that we're in a simulation? It's really easy to think that way. To be very honest with you, it really is. It's really easy to think that way. There's a lot of things that can't be lent an explanation right away unless you research it. Life is not easy as it could be, and there are people or I hate to say entities, but there are higher levels, than what we are, or maybe where you are, that have more clout than we do. So I don't know. I kind of want to finish this video, but I kind of don't. So I think I'm gonna. Actually, it's only 30 seconds. Let's just see what the end of it is going to be, or how he's going to end it.
Hey, thank you for watching. If you want to know what video to watch next, I would suggest this one. This seems like...
Don't watch. I'm just joking. I'm going to put this video's link in the description. That way you can check it out for yourself. You can stop it, pause it, or just see what this channel is all about. The name of this channel is, let me see. Shaman Oates. I guess he's just a creator. And you see what the next one is out. She dies, learns that the power of your thoughts, and must see meditation, hit bear review, blah 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 blah. So yeah, so I'm not sure, where he is on the whole spiritual spectrum, but I thought this was an interesting video. It definitely shed some light on on the thought process of some people. And we have billions of people in this world, and I'm sure it's a number of people that believe this particular I hate to say theology, ideology. And let's pray for them that whatever truth there's need to have, or whatever they need to bring to whatever is needed to bring them to the truth, they get it. The Holy Spirit goes out, seeks them out, and they get it. So if you're here for the first time, please like this video. The reason I want you to like it, because I wanted to see how many people have heard or know of, friends, family members, or individuals that come across situations like this or have this type of ideology. And if you like these type of videos. So if you like these type of videos, please comment as well too. Say, hey, bring some more NDEs. Comment NDEs, and I'll continue to do reactions to that. And while you're at it, will you please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to see you beautiful people next video. God bless you. Peace.